Robeson was a towering figure of the 20th century, a man who left an indelible mark on the worlds of music, theater, sports, and civil rights. Born in Princeton, New Jersey in 1898, Robeson rose to prominence against the odds, becoming a star at a time when opportunities for African Americans were scarce. Robeson excelled academically and athletically, attending Rutgers University on a scholarship. He was an All-American football player, valedictorian, and one of the first black students at the school. But his talents went far beyond the playing field. With a rich baritone voice and extraordinary stage presence, Robeson captivated audiences in theater and music. He starred as Othello in one of the longest-running productions of Shakespeare's play and immortalized the song Old Man River in Showboat, infusing it with a deep emotion and resonance. His performances brought black artistry to global audiences, breaking racial barriers in the arts. But Paul Robeson was more than just an entertainer. He was a vocal advocate for civil rights, equality, and justice. He used his fame as a platform to challenge racism and support workers' rights, traveling around the world to speak out against colonialism and oppression. Robeson's outspoken views brought him into conflict with the U.S. government during the Red Scare, and he was blacklisted and denied his passport. Despite these hardships, he remained steadfast in his beliefs, becoming a symbol of resilience and resistance. Today, Paul Robeson is remembered not only as a gifted performer, but as a fearless activist who fought for the dignity and the rights of all people. His legacy continues to inspire new generations, reminding us of the power of art and the courage it takes to stand up for justice. Paul Robeson, a voice for the ages, a spirit unbroken. His life and legacy echoed through time, reminding us of the strength in speaking truth to power.
Gordon Parks' story begins with a simple borrowed camera, one that would soon capture the complex fabric of American life. Born in 1912 in Fort Scott, Kansas, Parks was no stranger to adversity. Segregation and poverty shaped his early years, but they also fueled his desire to document the world around him. In 1937, that borrowed camera gave him the chance to do just that. Parks focused on the people who were often overlooked. His images told the stories of the working class, the marginalized, and the vulnerable. Yet through his lens, he revealed something deeper, an undeniable dignity, resilience, and strength that others had failed to see. Perhaps his most famous work, American Gothic, is a testament to that vision. In it, Ella Watson, a black cleaning woman, stands in front of the American flag holding her broom. It was a stark, quiet reflection of the promise of America, juxtaposed with the reality faced by so many. In that single image, Parks captured not only a moment, but an enduring truth. He once remarked that the camera is a weapon against poverty, against racism, against all sorts of social wrongs, but he also believed it was a tool for empathy and understanding. And that's what Parks offered the world, an invitation to see, not just the surface of things, but the humanity beneath. His talents extended beyond photography. In 1969, Parks became the first African-American to direct a major Hollywood film, The Learning Tree, based on his own autobiography. He followed the success with Shaft, a defining film of the 1970s, and with each new medium he explored, Parks maintained his unique ability to blend artistry with activism, always staying true to his vision. Parks' legacy is more than a collection of photographs or films. It's a reminder of the power of art to change hearts and minds. He didn't just document history, he shaped it, one frame at a time.
When recalling the prominent Black voices of the Harlem Renaissance, we often think of Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, or Josephine Baker, but seldom do we acknowledge Gwendolyn Bennett. Gwendolyn Bennett was a poet, writer, and artist that contributed greatly to the Black artistic work of the 1920s. Bennett was born July 8, 1902 in Giddings, Texas, the daughter of school teachers Joshua and Mame Bennett. After a messy separation, Bennett's father kidnapped her and they relocated to New York. Bennett would not see her mother for at least 30 years. After attending high school in New York, Gwendolyn attended college at Columbia University and later the Pratt Institute studying fine art. In 1923, her artistic pursuits took off when her poem Nocturne was published in The Crisis, the journal of the NAACP. The next month, another poem, Heritage, was published in Opportunity, the magazine of the National Urban League. Bennett not only excelled in the literary field, she was also an exceptional artist, and in 1925 attended the academic Julian and École du Panthéon in Paris, a private art school for painting and sculpture. When Bennett returned to New York in 1926, she became assistant editor for Opportunity magazine and wrote a column called The Ebony Flute, centered around literary and fine art. Bennett's impact was not only in the pieces she wrote or the art she drew. She nurtured young literary talent, forming a young Harlem's writers support group called Harlem Circles that featured the likes of Countee Cullen, Langston Hughes, Aaron Douglas, and Zora Neale Hurston. So when we remember Bennett's legacy, let us remember her words. If any have a song to sing that's different from the rest, oh, let them sing before the urgency of youth behest. For some of us have songs to sing of jungle heat and fires.
Audley Moore, lovingly known as Queen Mother Moore, was a towering figure in the struggle for Black liberation in the United States, yet remains lesser known compared to others in the civil rights movement. Born in 1898 in New Liberia, Louisiana, Moore's activism began early, after witnessing the racial violence and injustices in the South. Moving to Harlem during the Great Migration, she became involved with the Garvey movement, supporting Marcus Garvey's vision of Pan-Africanism and Black self-determination. Over her long life, Moore championed numerous causes that were ahead of their time. In the 1950s, she was one of the earliest voices calling for reparations for African Americans, long before it became a mainstream issue. She argued that Black Americans were owed compensation for centuries of slavery and racial exploitation. Her work in this area led her to establish organizations like the Reparations Committee for the Descendants of U.S. Slaves and the Universal Association of Ethiopian Women, advocating for both economic justice and the empowerment of Black women. Moore also aligned herself with various socialist and communist movements, believing in the international solidarity of oppressed people. She worked on behalf of political prisoners, including Angela Davis, and tirelessly promoted African unity and independence throughout the diaspora. Queen Mother Moore lives to be 98, passing away in 1997. Her legacy remains an enduring symbol of resilience, activism, and the fight for justice. Though often overshadowed by more prominent names, her pioneering efforts in reparations, Pan-Africanism, and women's rights have deeply influenced the trajectory of the Black liberation movement globally.
Today, I want to introduce you to a remarkable individual, Jamal Joseph, a man whose life journey is nothing short of inspiring. Jamal is a writer, activist, educator, and filmmaker, but he's also a living testament to resilience and transformation. Jamal's life story begins in the 1960s. At just 15 years old, he joined the Black Panther Party, drawn to its message of justice and equality during a time of profound racial and political unrest. His activism, however, led him to be incarcerated.
Of several Black men in urban Black America. The theme of choice of values is important because these men are faced with a critical period in their lives.
Here's where the story takes a turn. Behind bars, Jamal didn't succumb to despair. Instead, he transformed his cell into a classroom and his time into opportunity. He read and earned 2 college degrees and began writing poetry, screenplays, and books. Prison became the unlikely birthplace for his artistic and intellectual awakening. Upon Jamal's release, he continued his mission, but with a new focus. He became a professor at Columbia University, teaching journalism, and inspired countless students with his teachings on film and activism. He's also one of the founders of Impact Repertory Theater, a youth activist group right in Harlem, New York, preaches on activism, artistry, and believing in yourself.
James Baldwin is a writer and civil rights activist renowned for being a prolific novelist who challenged the conversations around sexuality, race, and politics. In the current climate of banning books and suppressing the voices of members of the LGBTQIA+ community, James Baldwin's words and contributions are a beacon of hope for the younger generations of today. On August 2, 1924, James Arthur Baldwin was born in Harlem, New York City. James Baldwin didn't go to college after his time at Frederick Douglass Jr. High School and DeWitt Clinton High School. He instead moved to Europe in 1948 amid racial tensions and injustice in the United States. James Baldwin would go on to create literary classics in his time in Europe, including Nobody Knows My Name, Giovanni's Room, and Notes of a Native Son, just to name a few. His work explored topics that were considered taboo or unconventional for his time. James Baldwin explored themes of race, sexuality, and the climate of America, especially when it came to African Americans. His perspective on America at the time, his cultural critiques, and involvement with the civil rights movement garnered the attention of Maya Angelou, Nina Simone, and Malcolm X. He would eventually become friends with them and other prominent figures at the time like Martin Luther King Jr. After the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., James Baldwin would console and help aid Maya Angelou in her grief, but also would play a role in helping her get her first autobiography published. It was titled, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. James Baldwin died on December 1, 1987, due to complications with stomach cancer. His voice still echoes through time and is important for today's generation. With the attempt to rewrite or even erase Black history, book bans, and LGBTQIA+ rights on the line in today's election, James Baldwin's universal words educate and inspire us all.
Shirley Chisholm. She was born in 1924 and passed away in 2005. She was an American politician, educator, and an author who made history as the first African-American woman who was elected to be in the United States Congress in 1968. She was representing New York's 12th District. She served 7 terms in the House of Representatives. She was also a trailblazer for women and civil rights and became the first Black woman to seek major party nominations for the U.S. president. Her slogan was always unbought and unbossed, reflecting her independence and commitment to justice. She remains an iconic figure in American politics and social activism. She was also a pioneering force in American politics. Born in Brooklyn, New York, and she had immigrant parents, she was deeply influenced by her experience growing up in a segregated society. Her degree from Brooklyn College and later her master's from Columbia University, focusing on childhood education before entering politics. Chisholm worked as a teacher and an educational consultant. In Congress, she was a champion for minority rights, education, and social justice. She co-founded the Congressional Black Caucus and the National Women's Political Caucus, using her own platform to advocate for policies that address poverty, gender inequality, and racial discrimination. Despite facing racism and sexism, she remained outspoken, dedicated to pushing for systematic change. Her 1972 presidential run was historic, though she faced some opposition from both white and Black political leaders. Despite having limited financial and political backing, she made a big impact on the political landscape, inspiring future generations of women so they also could pursue leadership roles. After leaving Congress in 1983, Chisholm continued to advocate for justice, writing books, giving lectures, and she was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015. Shirley accomplished a lot of things in her life. She was an American politician. She was the first Black woman to be selected into U.S. Congress, and she also represented New York's 12th District. And if you want to know more information, you can do your own research, or there's a movie out about her on Netflix called Shirley. Thank you very much. My name is Ali Lahai. This was about Shirley Chisholm. Thank you very much.
Assata Shakur was born Joanne Deborah Byron on July 16, 1947. She is a prominent figure in Black liberation movements and a symbol of resistance against racial injustice in the U.S. She became active in the Black Panther Party and later joined the Black Liberation Army, organizations that advocated for the end of systemic racism, police brutality, and the liberation of Black people. In 1973, Shakur was involved in a shootout on the New Jersey Turnpike, where a state trooper and a fellow BLA member were killed. Shakur was shot, arrested, and charged with murder. Despite pleading her innocence, she was convicted in 1977. Her case drew widespread attention, with supporters claiming she was a victim of political persecution. In 1979, she escaped from prison and fled to Cuba, where she was granted asylum. Since then, she has lived in exile, continuing to advocate for Black rights and denouncing U.S. government policies. The FBI has placed her on its most wanted terrorist list, offering a substantial reward for her capture. Shakur's autobiography, Assata, details her life struggles in the larger context of racial oppression, making her a lasting symbol in the fight against racial injustice.
Millions of college students are asking the same question. What happens to student loans now that Trump is back in office? With forgiveness plans on shaky ground, many are worried about their financial futures.
Lots of people benefit from student loans. It allows them to continue their education. And right now I'm fearful that with the defundment of the Department of Education, that people will no longer be able to go to college and achieve the American dream.
What's concerning me the most about student loans is the ability to potentially do things in the future, like possibly not being able to pay them back, or is it going to affect my credit, or things like that. So that's kind of concerning to me.
To get some clarity, we reached out to the Morgan State University Financial Aid Office and spoke to a representative. She explained that the SAVE repayment program, which lowers monthly payments, is vulnerable under Trump's administration. She also emphasized that forgiveness programs currently in legal battles may not move forward, and suggested that students review alternative repayment options sooner rather than later. For now, experts and advisors recommended staying on current plans and preparing for possible changes. If you are in the SAVE plan or considering forgiveness programs, check with your financial aid office and make a backup plan. Student loans remain one of the biggest concerns for college students. What's your plan moving forward? Let us know your thoughts.